If you're struggling to start investing in property, well, it's probably because you suck. Obviously, that's a joke. It's actually far more likely because you're going round and round in circles on the same problems. Which area should you invest in? Should you stay closer to home? But perhaps your area is expensive or it's lacking in potential opportunities? Or which strategy should you do? One day it's BRR, another day it's flips, the next day it's HMOs. Or maybe it's your capital. Maybe you've got 30 grand, 70 grand, or 100 grand. Which strategy should you choose based on the amount of capital that you have? And if this is you, and you genuinely can't decide where to start or what to do, well, I have the answer for you. You need to start with something called property flipping. Now you might say, Justin, but you bought 4 buy-to-let properties before you started adding in the occasional flip project. Why are you recommending that we do something different from what you did? Well, the journey I've taken to get to where I am has been incredibly valuable. Every decision I made, whether it turned out to be the right one or the wrong one, has taught me something. It's taking action and going through those experiences that built my skill set and gave me the insight that I now have. But with the experience that I now have, I can now see that there were better routes I could have taken, more efficient, more strategic, and potentially less costly paths. If I had the knowledge back then that I do today, well, I would have made different choices. Not because I regret my journey, but because I now understand how to do it smarter and quicker. So here are the reasons that I believe you should choose to flip your first property. Number one is real world experience. Okay, you can move faster and be more focused. You see, flipping properties throws you into the deep end, and that's a good thing. You'll quickly build hands-on experience, whether that's in sourcing profitable deals, negotiating with agents or sellers, managing refurbs and tradespeople, and maybe it's even the marketing and the selling of the property through estate agents. Each flip becomes, I guess you could say, its own crash course in the full property life cycle, from acquisition to exit, all compressed into 6 to 12 months. It's one of the fastest ways to learn and build confidence as an investor. And unlike buy-to-let, where you could sit on a property for years before really learning anything new, flipping keeps you moving forward. The second thing is that it gives you a clear exit point. Okay, not sure if property is the right thing for you? Well, flipping gives you a clean, defined finish line. You buy a property, you refurbish it, you sell it, and you're out. If you love it and you want to do many more, even when it gets stressful, then you can, and you can double down on it. But if you hate it or it doesn't suit your lifestyle, well, you've not tied yourself into this kind of long-term rental strategy. Worst case scenario, well, you can sell up. You make a profit or a lesson, ideally both, and you walk away smarter than you started before. Number 3 is to build capital. Now, let's say that you've got £50,000 of capital. You've saved this up and you're thinking of using the buy, refurbish, refinance strategy. And you're going to do that to try and build a portfolio. That's great in theory, but in practice, when you take that and you buy properties with it, well, you might leave £10,000 to £15,000 in each deal. Let's say £10,000. At the end of that one, you're going to have 40 grand. And if you go on to do another one and you leave £10,000 in that, then you're going to have 30 grand. That means that just after 1 or 2 buy, refurbish, refinance properties, well, you've run out of money and momentum because you haven't got enough capital to keep turning that round. But if you, let's say, take that money and flip this property, and now you make plus £20,000 in profit, well, you've grown your pot from 50 to now £70,000 pre-tax. Do a couple of those and suddenly you've got the capital to take on bigger projects, better properties, or even move into buy, refurbish, refinance later down the line without scraping together the pennies. Flipping is the capital builder, and capital gives you options. The next one is it creates a win-win in my eyes. Here's a simple example to explain that. Let's say that you buy a property for let's say £100,000, and you spend £50,000 on the refurb and your fees. I'll put R and F. Okay, you're in this deal for 150. If you wanted to try, or you're expecting to try and sell this for 175, then that would be a £25,000 profit, again, pre-tax. But what if things don't go to plan? What if you overspend and perhaps you spend an extra 5K on the refurb? What if actually it doesn't sell for 175, it sells for 165? All of a sudden, the deal isn't as good. However, you've still made a £10,000 profit, and you've learned a £15,000 lesson. And that is the beauty of flipping properties. Even if things go slightly wrong, there is usually still a cushion, and you have to get it very wrong in order to lose money. Next is flipping helps you build a brand and credibility. You see, flipping gives you visible results, before and after pictures, sold prices, refurb videos, and you can share all of that online. That's something that can build your credibility fast. And why is that important? Well, let's say that you've done a couple of successful flips. Suddenly, raising money for future projects now becomes 10x easier. And why is that? Well, it's because you've now proven that you can find good deals, you can add value, and you can exit profitably. That makes you a much safer bet for private investors or for potential joint venture partners. So these are the 5 reasons that I believe strongly that you should consider flipping your first property. But there is one final thing that I wanted to add, and my Property X members, well, they'd have heard me say this many, many times before. And that is that I live by the mantra, which is movement, not perfection. It's one of my most favorite sayings or quotes, and I don't even know where it's from. I just know it's how I've been able to make quick progress in my property journey. I can start progressing, then can perfect things later on. And in fact, for most people, it's the lack of movement and the perfectionism that actually is more detrimental to their progress than anything. So we've got to move, take action, and then we can perfect later. So with all that said, I have one final question for you. Will you be buying a property to flip for your first project? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.